Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday, the 20th of April, and may I wish you all a very, very happy Easter. Now, for those of you that are not Christians, Easter is when Jesus rose from the dead. On Hot Cross Bun Day, this is how I remember, because there's a cross on the bun, and Jesus died at the cross. And then they buried him in a cave, I think, and they put a boulder up against the cave door. And then Friday, Saturday, 2 days later, the boulder went and Jesus was gone. That's how it says in the Bible. So anyway, it's a good excuse to eat chocolate. Rudy Bell sent me a tin of Welsh cakes, and I ate the bloody lot today. There was about 14. Now, I've never eaten a shop-bought Welsh cake. I've only ever eaten them from my grandmother and my mother. I've never bothered to buy them because we always had a pile of them. But I did notice a difference. And I am not having a go at Rudy Bell because she meant well. And they were beautiful, beautiful Welsh cakes, but a bit mean with the currants. I got to the point where after I was eating number 6, I thought, I'm going to count these currants in these Welsh cakes. Maybe my grandmother was over-generous and my mother was over-generous. I know that fruit that you put into Christmas cakes, Christmas puddings, I know that the fruit is one of the most expensive things. My grandmother used to say that. But I never realised how mean other people can be, like shop-bought ones. Do you find that with things? If you make them homemade, you put a different little spin on them, maybe extra this, extra brandy in your Christmas pudding, and so on. Because if I buy a Christmas pudding with brandy, I can never taste the brandy. But anyway, I still ate them, and I enjoyed every single one of them. And now I'm actually, as far as my constipation, I do not have constipation anymore. And I'm down to 1 prune every other day. Good God, they are strong. I'll never take a laxative again. Not after I found out about prunes. Whoever got me onto prunes, thank you very much. I've still got a bag by the side of me here with about a dozen left. I don't think I'm going to take any more because it's given me a bit too much of the other way, you know. Anyway, I want to talk tonight about why did Meghan Markle have a 4-car, what they call it, a motorcade in New York. 4 reasons. One that most people have forgotten about is George Clooney was having his open night on Broadway in another play just down the road in New York. He was in a play on Broadway at the very same time Meghan turned up. Now, as you know, Meghan invited George and Amal to her wedding, and they went. But I think it's safe to say that I don't think they maintained a friendship after that. Well, George was performing on Broadway, and he didn't invite Meghan, which is very telling. To be honest, I've come to the conclusion that they really are falling apart, but more of that later. So she did it as a big message to George Clooney. Look, I'm in town. I'm going to see Gypsy. I'm not coming to see you. You didn't invite me. Yaboo sucks, whatever. That's one reason. Second one is she wanted to show the New York police how seriously she takes her safety when she's in New York. She will still maintain that they were chased in a high-speed chase for 2 hours while they were last in New York when she had that gold dress on. Third, she wants to show the Home Office, the British government and the royal family how seriously her and Harry take their security and safety. And they were bound to have read about it, but here's the thing, you see. It's a joke, it's a laughable. Nobody, not one person has said it was worth it, it was necessary. Nobody. They've pictures of, what's his name, Luke Skywalker on the Underground, Alanis Morissette on the Metro or whatever they call it. people get on with their lives. There is, God knows how much it would have cost. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, a decoy in the front, the police then, and you Americans paid for that, no doubt. Meghan in number 3, and another a decoy, 2 decoys. Do you know, she's got very, very big opinion of herself. And I think that she is going to take it very hard, her life from here on in. And here's another thing that I've come to realise. Meghan's got a new podcast out with Lemonada. And let me just get me into position because I want to play something for you. Hold on. Anyway, I just had to finish with, as far as their security is concerned with the IPP status, Harry had his final court case on April the 8th, I believe, and the judge is now thinking it over. So the decision has not been made yet, but it doesn't look good, I'm pleased to say. And he's still got his security, but on a bespoke I forgot the word, but on a bespoke system, i.e. 30 days, he tells the royal family, I'm coming to Britain in 30 days' time, and he will have the normal high security, armed police, etc. And another thing is that he goes on about the Taliban after him. He brought that completely on himself. And I read somewhere, and I think it was the Duchess of Sussex's tweet, and the Taliban have said, we're not even interested in Harry, he's a nobody. Words to that effect. And I believe that. I don't think they think he's important enough. And she also said that he blew his own cover in Afghanistan. Apparently, he was on the phone with Chelsea Davy, and they had a big row, and you can imagine him slamming the phone down and tramping around like a spoilt little boy, so much so that he wanted to go and see her, and he wanted to go home. And that's how it all blew apart, his security and his anonymity within the Afghanistan army. He blew it himself by wanting to go and see Chelsea, and he went and never came back because his cover was blown. Now, I believe that, and I think Chelsea definitely dodged a bullet. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, Meghan's pregnancy. Now, it's all rising up again, and I know a lot of you are fed up with it. So am I. It's just a surrogate pregnancy. It's no big deal. But if I can nail her for lying, if I can prove, if I can get this exposed out in the open, and I've done pretty well, actually. I'm rather pleased with myself because Dan Wootton's talking about it now, Lady Colin Campbell, and I can remember way back in 2020 when I was bashing my head against a brick wall, getting banned. Of course, they could get me banned then for saying things like she used a surrogate, but I kept coming back. This is on Twitter, and I kept on saying it because I knew. I don't know, sometimes I just get a feeling about something that I will absolutely stick to, and this is one of them. I do get feelings about things. I think we all do, and you should listen to your gut feelings always, especially if it's warning you of danger. I'm getting a warning about Meghan Markle that she is a shocking liar. She's one of those people that must have been dragged up. And I know her father had a good job, etc. But there's more to bringing up a child than having lots of money and giving them, I don't know, a sizzler steak or whatever. We never ate out when I was young, ever. Good God, it was out of our price range. But I want to tell you what, when my mother, her second marriage went haywire, and we had to go and live with my grandmother, and we finally got the house back. It was only a council house, projects or whatever you call them. But my mother had run away from him with me, my sister, and my brother. And that was his child, my brother. He's my half-brother. And we went up to my grandmother, and my mother had to fight for the house back. Hang on now, that's right. And we got back to the house. My mother had 3 jobs, I remember. She was cleaning in a pub in Newport in the morning. She worked for the gas board in the day, selling gas cookers door to door. And in the night, she was a barmaid down the Oakfield pub in Cwmbran. She worked awful hard, and we didn't see much of her, and we had keys round our neck, but that's okay. Every day when I come home from school, this is when I was between 8 or 9 and 11. Oh, yeah, we got back into this house on Hentless Way, and every bloody night I'd say to my mother, "What's for tea, ma'am?" And she'd say, "Stew." And sure enough, every single night we had stew. Vegetables, very healthy, nothing wrong with it. Stew. And I said this once to my mother, I said, "I'm sick of stew, I really am, I'm sick of stew." And the following night, or a few nights after, I said, "What's for tea, ma'am?" She said, "Corned beef hash." And it wasn't, it was still stew. And another time, I remember this, she must have been cleaning out the pantry, and she found a jar of pickled onions that hadn't been used, so she put them into the stew. And it was bloody foul. These pickled onions, I don't know how long they'd been in the pantry, but she popped them in the stew. I think that's why she did stew, because, it's an economical meal, isn't it? And I got to be honest, it's a better for you than chips, isn't it? Or egg and chips, or ham, egg and chips, or whatever. We never had any posh food when I was growing up. Never. Anyway, I think now that Meghan is realising that the royal family are very, very good at blanking, completely ignoring things, and she is desperate to get attention. It's become unbearable. She talked about her pregnancy at the time. It was on record that she was at Constantinople, which is 23 miles, into the port road and back home within 3 hours, 2 hours and a half. That's on record. And she said, or Harry said, he had numbers, chicken, that would be Harry's son. I was still on Lex Street, used to gasoline. And what I have done is I've had a look at in fact, what I did was I Googled, I put, how long must I stay in hospital if I had post-pre-eclampsia? And it said 3 to 7 days. And the other one was, oh God, I can't remember now. But anyway, I want you to listen to just this little bit and have a listen now. Meghan is talking to this new guest. I don't even know what her name is, but they sound alike. Now, this new guest, this week's guest, last week's guest, I should say, there's another one coming out on Tuesday. They've obviously had a little word between them before this podcast was recorded. And she's told Meghan that she's had preeclampsia. And Meghan is, if you listen, this girl, or whoever she is, woman, is saying, and Meghan is actually rabbiting exactly the same words back at her. And it's so scary because the whole world doesn't know about it. Yeah, that's right, Meghan. The whole world doesn't know about what women go through in the delivery room. It's not something that most people are interested in, and especially now with you, Meghan, because Archie, or was it Lilibet, which one I don't know, they're both 5 and 3 years of age, so it's fair to say they all survived and they're all healthy, regardless of who the mother is or who had the preeclampsia. Meghan is getting desperate, and she is coming to the point where, I swear to God, she doesn't care that you find her out lying. She enjoys the fact that people do the research, which is what I've just done, and say, well, how can that be if she was in hospital for 2 hours? Oh, and that's the other one, wasn't it? The epidural. You can have 2 epidurals, one after the other, if one doesn't work. But you can't leave for 48 hours until your legs come back to life. There's no way her legs came back to life in 2 hours after 2 epidurals. So these are all lies. But I want you to just hear this little thing that Dan Wootton says. And, P. Diner.
Quite rightly sparked a lot of doubts about whether she was telling the truth in Confessions of a Female Founder. So, P. Diner, royal YouTube sensation, is with me. We're going to separate the fact from the fiction here, P. Diner. So let's look first at the 2 relevant clips. First, we have Meghan claiming, I think quite unbelievably, that she had preeclampsia during her pregnancy.
Okay, the cameras are rolling. A Buzz Bingo is live. People
Sorry.
all over the UK are playing for 250,000.
There you go.
I think quite unbelievably that she had preeclampsia during her pregnancy.
We both had preeclampsia.
Oh God,
postpartum
can you believe we
preeclampsia.
both had that? It's so rare.
It's so rare.
And so scary.
And so scary. And you go, and you're still trying to juggle all of these things, and the world doesn't know what's happening.
It's just odd, isn't it? Just really odd, given you did decide to tell the world about every other little health issue that you claim to have had, but this one you held back. This one you didn't put in spare. This one you didn't put in the Netflix documentary. You saved it for the first episode of a podcast that needs to work. Now, you can imagine there are...
Did you notice the way she said, so scary and the whole world doesn't know? She didn't give any new information. Not that I want to hear it. You know, the chances of her having preeclampsia, slim to none. I'll say none. I do not believe her. I think she's a bloody liar. And I am so sick of her doubling down. And she will. There's even more. There's the New York Times where she did what they call an op-ed. The Losses We Share, it's called, talking about a miscarriage that they buried in the garden. You see, if people wanted to, they could easily disprove all of these lies. But I've yet to find somebody brave enough to haul her out on it. Nobody is. I would say that the royal family probably just want to say, just never explain, just don't go there, because she's ruining herself by herself. No doubt about it. The next podcast that's going to come out, she's going to have to up that with something else. I wonder what it's going to be. What's she going to say? These pregnancies now, both of them, are 3 years old at least. That's Lily's age, isn't it? And yet now she's still talking about things. She's had miscarriage, preeclampsia, epidural. All of this has come out after, way after. But of course they forget the lies that they told at the time and in the beginning. And when you saw Archie, when they brought him out in Windsor Castle, a tiny little pie-sized piece of his forehead. Wait there a minute now. I got some pictures. Bloody hell. Oh, look at this. I got to show you this. Oh, isn't he gorgeous? Isn't he beautiful? And his happiness at seeing the person that's holding him. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. That was the woman. That's her. Apparently, she's going through a divorce now from Lord Bradford. Not Blandford, it's Bradford. And she's Lady Bradford. Penelope. She was the woman that was supposed to have delivered Meghan's baby. They say. Apparently, they were abroad at the time. And he's put a piece in the paper to say my wife did not deliver that baby. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Wait there. Oh, and there's another plane gone down, that one. There's another helicopter gone down. There's another load of school shootings. I just don't, there we are. Look at this. Non-binary, trans, cross-dresser and trans. Well, I'm pleased to say that our Supreme Court has now ruled, which is in keeping with America, so I'm glad for the guidance. I think sometimes we follow America, and I'm glad about that because this makes complete sense. There are only two genders, a man and a woman. No matter how many times you cut off your todger or you shave your legs, every DNA cell, every cell in your body is screaming what you were born as. Every cell. Even if you're, what's that one? Hermaphrodite, I think it is, when you've got both sets of reproductive organs. Hermaphrodite. I'm not quite sure what they find inside in the cells of a hermaphrodite. I feel sorry for the hermaphrodites because they were born intersex, like half and half. It must be like a disability because it must be terribly hard to live with. I don't know what I'd do. I really don't. I've never felt like a boy. I've never fancied other women. I've never been anything but, 100%. So I suppose that means I'm a bit lacking in sensitivity and kindness. I'm not sure if I would feel differently if my daughter wanted to change sex. I don't think she would. It's the way we've all been brought up. We've been brought up the proper way, I think. Anyway, oh, dear me, it's terrible. Hold on a second, let me find my next subject. Oh, and I forgot, there's one other reason why she had that motorcade. Netflix as well. There's still going to be recording, not much footage, just a bit, just to freshen it up, I think, for her second series of With Love, Meghan. And I think that they just want it. And of course, Meghan, last but not least, loves to show off. I'd be embarrassed if I was in a motorcade. Sorry, I got an itchy nose. I read this in Twitter the other day. It's an article about Harry. I don't know if I should read it or whether you could. It's by Wales Rain. An excellent piece. You see, all the time, Harry was shit-stirring in the most basic meaning of that. He really was. When he got together with Meghan, they decided to cause trouble within the royal family by Charles causing trouble between Charles and William. And let me read a little bit. If you think the issue between them is a fight that one has with a son or a brother, that's not the case. Charles, William and Harry have had conflicts many times over various things, but what Charles can't forgive Harry for, and what really broke his patience, was realising that many of the conflicts he and William had had over the years were actually caused by Harry. Tina Brown and other reporters have said it. Harry was gossiping about his father and brother. He'd been doing it for years, at least since 2007. Tina Brown confirmed time and time again Harry sowed discord, to the point that William believed it was true and that Camilla was leaking things to the press. It was thanks to Kate that William realised this wasn't true, but William always remained unsure until 2009, and this has been reported by several royal reporters, and Harry himself has shared his version. William discovered that Harry was the leaker to the press. Charles had made a comment about George that William didn't like, and the two had an argument in which Charles apologised and assured him it wouldn't happen again. It was a minor matter, but only 3 people found out about it: Charles, William and Harry. For William, seeing the incident published in the Express was a huge blow. If you don't believe me, look up the news. It happened between February and April 2019. William went to confront his father to find out how the press found out, but he found Charles was as bewildered as he was. So William went to talk to Harry. Harry himself recounted this in spare. And Harry started saying, "Well, you know, Camilla, she's always trying to benefit by using us." Harry said something like that. And William realised it was Harry who was leaking everything, because Camilla would never have done something like that involving the children. Do you think it was funny for William to discover that he often blamed his father and Camilla for gossip that Harry had actually leaked? That Camilla hated Kate and was happy that William broke off the relationship, that Charles was jealous of William, that William was aggressive and violent. This was gossip all spread by Harry. William found out, and he discovered that Megsie had bribed an employee of his to tell him gossip about William and Kate's marriage. Bauer reported this, and Lowe confirmed it. Why do you think Harry and Meghan were sent to Frogmore, whether the house was ready or not, in April 2019? Because William was furious that his brother was doing that. And Harry got revenge, spreading the rumour that Rose Handry and William were lovers. There's no longer any doubt about that, because Harry knew that William and Kate were going out on intimate dates, using false names. Kate was using Rose's name. Harry knew the press would see the name and believe it was Rose Handry. That was horrible, because Harry also spread the rumour along with Harry and Meghan are devastated by what William is doing again. Don't believe me? Read what the press said in October 2019. Charles was horrified when William told him the extent of what Harry was doing, and by other things too, starting with his new daughter-in-law's uncontrolled spending, close to £1 million on clothes in 2019. Charles still had a glimmer of hope that it was all a mistake until 2020, when Harry was already in the USA and Harry threw all the bills at his father for him to pay. Thousands of pounds, one after the other, thousands and thousands of pounds. Charles cut that off in August 2020. Harry then got his revenge and the Oprah interview was arranged. That was horrible. It was mean. It was disgusting. Harry didn't stop. 2021, 2022, Harry didn't stop sowing discord. William and Charles did something Harry never expected. They united, no longer speaking through their secretaries, but both reached an agreement to always speak directly. Harry didn't find out about this until it was too late. If the issue had just been between Harry, William and Charles, maybe there would be some way to resolve it. But Harry insulted Camilla, he insulted Kate, he insulted his grandmother, he insulted palace staff, and he didn't stop. He insulted his friends, he insulted his uncles, he insulted the military, he insulted the British. Harry said horrible things in Spare and in subsequent interviews in 2023. but Charles still had hope that Harry would mature. But that wasn't the case. When Harry told Will Reeves that he had seen Charles after the cancer announcement and that he knew everything but couldn't share it, it was enough for Charles to know that Harry can't be trusted one bit. Oops. Charles doesn't want to save Harry from what he's going through. Not at all. Charles isn't going to lift a finger for him and those children, because at some point in life there's no way to save someone who wants to sink into the mud, because Meghan is an evil witch. But Harry took things to such an extreme that there's simply nothing to talk about with him. Nothing. You'll say he's his son, he's his brother. Fine. Would you be able to invite someone to your house who you know will use whatever you say, even if it's just hello, against you? What Harry has done is horrible in several ways, and that's how bad things are with Harry. And that's Wales Rain on X. That was on Instagram. Wales Rain on Instagram. And the comments are just fabulous. I mean, everybody knows now. What's going to happen now? Are they going to just carry on ignoring? I know Charles is old. I know he's not in the best of health. And I know Camilla's older than Charles. William's champing at the bit. He's ready. He's rearing up, ready to go. William could earn a lot of admiration of the people by being the one to break the news. Although, what are they going to break? Everything's wrong with Harry and Meghan. Everything. They're going to run out of money. They don't have an unlimited pot of money, although they have got millions, or they had millions. Harry was always known as mean, tight, when before he got married to Meghan. Everyone used to say he was, like when he went to Las Vegas with those friends and he dressed up as Hitler and went naked. Apparently, he did. He walked out of Las Vegas and he did not pay the bill. And they had to send it to Buckingham Palace. But it was paid. And of course, anybody that goes anywhere with Harry or royalty, I suppose you never think of paying the bill. I wouldn't. Well, I don't know. I kind of offer in a whisper. Offer to pay my share. Anyway, Meghan, a ruthless grifter by nature. She grabbed this idiot and he happily threw his family and tradition under the bus with malice, jealousy, rage and with revenge uppermost in his mind. And everybody's waking up to this. Meghan now is telling even more lies about her pregnancy that did not exist. I think I got her father. Did I show you where I had her father saying about her eggs? No. I did find the piece where his father said about the eggs. She collected them from Los Angeles. Now, I don't believe that. I believe she collected them from Toronto. Don't know why. I think that's where she had them stored, was in Toronto. Look at this now, Senti Bali. Now, Senti Bali is under investigation as we speak. By truth, the charity has had a bumpy path. In 2008, now that's only 2 years after it started, local childcare workers near Lesotho's capital sounded the alarm to the Mail newspaper over how it was run. The workers contacted us with complaints that Westerners controlling Senti Bali enjoyed generous salaries, new cars, private school fees paid for their children. This, they said, was... I haven't got any more of that, but I know that that's true. I've read it several places. So even 2 years into a brand new charity, when you start a business or a charity, anything like that, when money's coming in and out, you don't spend on enormous things like that at the very beginning. You wait until you're established. income coming in or going out or whatever. And this is another one. He asked whether his school's orphans could use any spare space. They had no orphans when I visited, but I have some who need warmth and a proper classroom to do their lessons. They still said no to me. Mr. Matsepi, who is living with HIV, said he could be angry with Prince Harry but doesn't blame him for Sentebali's attitude. He probably doesn't even know we exist because the staff here running his charity won't have told him. He flies in and they produce children from all over the county for him to be pictured with. We heard other stories. A farmer and community leader in Liaseng told us he was asked to take 8 teenage herd boys, another group Harry's charity pledges to help, to perform a traditional dance at the 2015 opening. Sentebali's staff said they would give him a job and the boys an education if they attended. I never got the job and I never got the schooling, 67-year-old said. I would like to know who is responsible for all the broken promises. Also at the 2015 ceremony was a local mother, Mrs. Linnea Jobo, who was persuaded by Sentebali to take along her 13-year-old daughter, Sella Kane, who is neither an orphan nor suffering from HIV. We saw Prince Harry, but we were not allowed to take photos. Sounds to me, I don't know what this opening was in 2015. Harry's HIV charity that promises never to forget has left behind the very Lesotho orphans. This is all going to come out in the investigation. Of course, when you've got a charity in a very poor part of Africa, and it's like, what was it Sophie said? It's like people marking their own homework, wasn't it? That's what she said, marking their own homework. There's going to be jiggery-pokery going on. If people are poor and they see money, they do get a little bit strange. I've noticed that about people. You know, so Meghan Markle, even though she's got enough money to carry her through the rest of her life and she could just concentrate on bringing up those children properly, she would still peel an orange in her pocket. She really would. She'd skin a flea for a halfpenny. She wouldn't, she can't resist grabbing. Even if she's got it more than enough to pay for something and she could steal it, she would. You know, like they were saying how she took that pair of shoes from Reitman's. I was listening to somebody talking about it. Who was it now? I don't know, but they say that people in the industry, when they go to hair and makeup, it's very common for them to steal a lipstick or an eyeshadow that they like what they've put on them. And, it was Neil Sean, that's right. And there's this one woman who was being interviewed by Neil Sean, laddered her tights or her stockings, and she asked for somebody to go and get her another pair. And they said, yes, okay. And then she said, they're in Harrods, and they were like £25 a pair. And she said, can you get me 20 pairs? And Neil Sean said he was stunned, but they said no. We probably got a 1 pair. But such is the greed and the extras that these people expect behind the scenes when they're doing things. Isn't it amazing? I mean, why would you ask for 20 pairs? Maybe push your luck and ask for 2. I don't know. But, well, it just doesn't make sense. And maybe the tights that she removed were probably something from the pound shop, you know, Dollar General or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, Sentebali is being investigated and it will be finished soon. The judge's decision with regarding to Harry's security is still being thought over or mulled over. That'll be out soon. This is Harry. It's no wonder he looks so bloody miserable, but you know what? It's all of his own doing, and what a shame he had to be 40 before he's learned the lessons. But I don't think he's able to realise that these are lessons and that he needs to take them on and think about them. This is God or somebody bringing his attention to his bad behaviour. If he is a good person, then he will realise how awful he's been to his father, his brother, everybody. But I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. Isn't it a shame that royalty and special privileges, they're wasted on these people? I don't understand how they can be so expectant of all sorts of things. And Meghan, I think she's actually quite nuts. I don't think she's all there at all. She's never, how many lies has she told from there to now? How many lies? So many. And I think that she does troll the internet. She knows what's going on. She knows that she's been called out for the preeclampsia. She knows it doesn't marry in with her other stories about spending just 2 hours in the hospital and home with the baby. 39-year-old geriatric mother, 2 epidurals and back home in 3 hours. That's all in the papers. It's all written, documented evidence. Why doesn't somebody say something? Why didn't somebody print it in a paper? Because we're just going round and round and round in circles, and it's all just, it'll die down again, then it'll come up again. I know I say about DNA, I don't know if it's DNA, because if it's Harry and hers, then it will be their DNA. We need to talk to the obstetrician or the midwife at the hospital. And of course, they all probably signed NDAs. Even if somebody came up to me and said, I was the midwife, and I'm telling you now, Meghan didn't have a baby that day. Another woman did, and she went up to collect it. Okay, so I know this now. Somebody's told me this. What do I do with that information? What would I do? Oh, I ring their mail. I just spoke to somebody, and they told me that they delivered the baby, and it wasn't Meghan. It was somebody else. How are we ever going to get to the point? It's a very crafty lie, and to the point now where she's even colouring it in, putting glitter all over it, and adding a little bit more to a nonsensical story. Makes me mad. Really does make me mad, because it's our royal family. Yeah, the royal family is there to serve us, not to lie to us, or to be related or physically support somebody that is so full of lies. It's a joke. I know probably Charles doesn't come online. Oh, I got a terrible itchy nose. My nose is on. Oh, it's okay. Oh, dear me. Something's got to give. That's what I mean. Something has got to give. Anyway, thank you to Rudy Bell for my Welsh cakes. Thank you to Alice for the money. And I wish you all the happiest of Easters. And it's my birthday tomorrow. I wasn't going to say anything, but somebody wrote it somewhere. I want to say thank you to everybody who remembered. I don't like making an issue, especially since I'm 69 tomorrow. Oh, and I tell you what my latest craze is now on YouTube. Oh, these stupid old fat men, nothing wrong with being fat, going to Thailand or the Philippines and getting involved with the Thai girls or the Filipino girls who absolutely rob them of their money. They'll marry them and they build a house, and apparently foreigners cannot own land or buy a house, in the Philippines. So they got to put it in their woman's name, and then bang, they're gone. And the amount of people homeless in the Philippines, men. Why is it never women? See, there is an inequality between men and women, in that men, it's always men, isn't it? There's never really any brothels for women. There was a couple in Australia, I remember. It was a bit of a joke. And I don't think there's any in UK. Brett's Boys, I think it was called, But you're not going to get women paying for men's company. Very, very, very rare. Isn't it? But there's plenty the other way around. And these men, when I see these old men going to the Philippines, oh my God. If they're single, I suppose it's not such a bad thing. I tell you what, yesterday I saw 3 videos, and it was this man, and he was interviewing foreigners in the Philippines. And he met this man, and he was 65, and he was chipper. He was really happy, jumping around. He had white hair, but he had a very, very nice face, a very happy face, very open face. And he was from Atlanta, Georgia, and he'd been in the Philippines 5 months. And, he was so happy. Peter, I think his name was. And then he interviewed him again about 3 months later, and he was okay, but he was just a little bit... and then the third one, oh, the poor fella. He'd settled down with one girl. He said, she's looking after my money. She knows how to look. She's very clever with money. But he looked as miserable as sin. And those 3 videos, and I can't remember now. Hang on, listen, I don't know if I started laughing. He worked for AT&T, and he just retired. And he was so happy before he settled down with a Filipino girl. And that was the end of him. Your videos, I don't know if I can find it then. History. Much later, liked. Oh, liked. There's when you... Oh, no, that's not one. I'll see if I can find... I'm trying. I'm trying to find the ones. Gertrude Rood's been putting a load of videos up. She's so funny. Let me just find the... I want to find the channel. I leave it to you then to go... the Appalachian Storyteller. That's it. Q Adventures. That's one of them. Now this guy here...
You could be owed
Ian. Ooh.
for £5,000
I don't like him.
and not even know it. If you took out car finance and...
Him.
Some money that I collected that is still owed to you.
Do you know, he kept asking for money. He wants more money, more money, more money. He'd gone out to the Philippines, shacked up with a woman, her 2 daughters, and they are sitting there, and they're all waiting for money. Q Adventures, that's one of them. Q Adventures. And there's another one that I'll find if you're interested. But Filipino women are very, 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 very... We had a couple working in the parlour. I tell you at the time, it was when the... Do you remember that big wave? What do they call them? Those big waves. Oh, you know the ones. The ones where the wave... what's the name of them? You know, those massive waves that just flooded the... it's on the tip of my tongue. Well, anyway, that was when she worked there. I forgot her name as well. And she lost her husband while she was working for me on a motorbike over in the Philippines. She didn't seem that upset. Oh, I'll have to think about her some more. Anyway, it's off now. I'll be back. Maybe the day after. I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm back on my tablets and chopping around. But I've run out of food. I can always tell when I've run out of food. Well, apart from the obvious. But I always ordered 2 loaves of bread. And when I get to a slice that's got green mould on it, I know it's time to get a new order in. I can make a loaf of bread, 2 loaves of bread last like 2 weeks. But when the mould, I don't mind, I just pick the mould out. I noticed that sourdough bread has mould that's a lot greener and lusher. like a bottle green, really bright green, whereas ordinary mould is kind of a grey green, isn't it? But I'm not worried about eating mould, because I think that that's how they discovered penicillin, antibiotics. They say there's some good mould and bad mould. I wouldn't eat mould on a mushroom, but I definitely eat mould on cheese, jam or bread. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm not dead. Anyway, I'll see you soon, as sooner than you think. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've all had a lovely Easter, and I'll see you soon. Cheerio!